I view contempt as a serious matter. But I will not jeopardize the ability of our prosecutors and agents to do their jobs effectively in future investigations. I will not be intimidated, and the Justice Department will not be intimidated.
Justice is no longer blind in America. Today it's driven by politics. Example number one is President Trump. Bonnie Willis opens an investigation into President Trump in February of 2021, but doesn't bring charges until after he announces he's running for president. Alvin Bragg said, quote, "I cannot see a world in which I would indict Trump and call Mr. Cohen as a prosecution witness." But that's exactly what he did after President Trump announced he was running for president. And the Attorney General names Jack Smith special counsel 3 days after President Trump announces he's running for president. 4 months earlier, before Jack Smith is named as special counsel, the Biden Justice Department, under Attorney General Garland, approved a raid on President Trump's home, something we've never witnessed in this great country.
Now, in response, certain members of this committee and the Oversight Committee are seeking contempt as a means of obtaining, for no legitimate purpose, sensitive law enforcement information that could harm the integrity of future investigations. This effort is only the most recent in a long line of attacks on the Justice Department's work. It comes alongside threats to defund particular department investigations, most recently the special counsel's prosecution of the former president. It comes alongside false claims that a jury verdict in a state trial brought by a local district attorney was somehow controlled by the Justice Department. That conspiracy theory is an attack on the judicial process itself. It comes as individual career agents and prosecutors have been singled out just for doing their jobs. It comes as baseless and extremely dangerous falsehoods are being spread about the FBI's law enforcement operations. And it comes at a time when we are seeing heinous threats of violence being directed at the Justice Department's career civil servants. These repeated attacks on the Justice Department are unprecedented and they are unfounded.
Before anyone else on the other side saddles up and gets on their high legal horses, I just want to remind the committee that the chairman is 754 days into his own subpoena defiance.
Attorney General, you've told us that it's a dangerous conspiracy theory to allege that the Department of Justice is communicating with these state and local prosecutions against Trump. You can clear it all up for us right now. Will the Department of Justice provide to the committee all documents, all correspondence between the department and Alvin Bragg's office and Bonnie Willis's office and Letitia James's office?
The offices you're referring to are independent offices of state.
I get that. The question is whether or not you will provide all of your documents and correspondence. That's the question. I don't need a history lesson.
Well, I'm going to say again, we do not control those offices. They make their own decisions.
The question is whether you communicate with them, not whether you control them. Do you communicate with them, and will you provide those communications?
If you make a request, we'll refer it to our Office of Legislative Affairs.
But see, here's the thing. You come in here and you lodge this attack that it's a conspiracy theory, that there is coordinated lawfare against Trump. And then when we say, fine, just give us the documents, give us the correspondence, and then if it's a conspiracy theory, that will be evident. But when you say, well, we'll take your request, and then we'll sort of work it through the DOJ's accommodation process, then you're actually advancing the very dangerous conspiracy theory that you're concerned about.
Mr. Attorney General, throughout the 118th Congress, Republicans have made bogus allegations claiming that the Justice Department has been weaponized. Most recently, there was an allegation that the FBI was authorized to, quote, kill the former president. What impact does this type of rhetoric have on the career prosecutors and law enforcement agents at the Department of Justice?
This is dangerous. It raises the threats of violence against prosecutors and career agents. The allegation is false. As the FBI has explained, the document that's being discussed is our standard use of force protocol. which is a limitation on the use of force and which is routinely part of the package for search warrants and was part of the package for the search of President Biden's home as well.
My greatest fear is that we could face a coordinated terrorist attack from elements among the millions who've entered this country illegally over the last 3 years. Is this fear justified?
I am worried about the possibility of a terrorist attack in the country after October 7th. The threat level for us has gone up enormously. Every morning we worry about this question. We try to track anyone who might be trying to hurt the country. Of course, this is a priority, a major priority for the Justice Department.
Because of this administration's policies, you now have millions and millions who've been allowed into this country or who have evaded the Border Patrol while they've been overwhelmed admitting these millions in. And I worry about the stage is set for something very bad happening in the very near future.
Threats on the judiciary are increasing, and this is frightening to the rule of law. Can you talk about the work that DOJ is doing to address this important issue?
Yes, the threats to the judiciary, threats to prosecutors, threats to law enforcement agents have all spiked significantly, and in some cases have accelerated from threats to actual violence. We have a threats task force engaged in investigating these matters. We intend to aggressively investigate and prosecute threats against our public officials, including members of Congress, of which the numbers have actually exploded in the past couple of years. Our democracy cannot continue if the people who make the democracy run are afraid, if they make their decisions based on fear of being threatened or of being assaulted. No democracy can survive under those circumstances, and we will do everything we can in our power to investigate, deter, and prosecute anyone who makes threats against public servants.
That concludes today's hearing. I want to thank the Attorney General for being here and for the several hours that he testified. Without objection, all members will have 5 legislative days to submit additional written questions for the witness or additional materials for the record. Without objection, the hearing is adjourned.
To watch the entire hearing, visit our website at cspan.org.